patience this morning. We had to make a few adjustments to our sound system, but I think we're good to go. And we'll start this morning's session with Mr. Odell Bizzell, who is the author of the book that you received in your packet, your conference packet. And so I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you a little bit about his book and his presentation.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Oh my gosh. I understand. I get it. It's gray outside. So what I'm going to do is going to do something a little different to put some energy in the room, if that's okay. Everybody say that's okay. I have a dream like Dr. King. I guess I've got his way of starting things. Like him, I yearn to become a king. And under my regime, you too shall reign supreme. But under the reign, recognize we need a team. Through God, we can do wondrous things. If you plant the seeds, he'll make the trees. And I don't know about you, but that's a miracle to me. Can you see the life you've always dreamed? Well, if not, listen close while I do my thing. It's all about becoming the best that you can be and doing your best to give others your energy. Through my words, my friends, our dreams can become a reality. My dream is to become everything I was meant to be, not just for me, but so you can be any and everything you've ever dreamed to be. Let's practice excellence. You know, set a new precedent. You can be anything you want, even be the president. And in your movement, let's not be negligent. Let the words that I speak into your heart and take residence. May I give yourselves a round of applause for being here. I want you to keep this phrase in your mind for the rest of our time together and beyond. Words build worlds. Words build worlds. I have a picture on the screen of my beautiful wife, Sierra. Yesterday, we celebrated 14 years of wedded bliss. And we're going to be celebrating this weekend. And one thing that people often ask me, we got married when we were super young, early 20s, right out of college, right before social media became what social media is. And we've had friends that have gotten divorced and remarried and divorced. And people say, well, how were you able to do it? What were you able to do? So we have pretty good communication. That's the short answer of it. We talk through everything, and we've always talked through everything. And when I thought about that answer, because somebody asked me yesterday, I said, you know, I'm very intentional with my words. My wife is very intentional with her words. And I thought about this as I was preparing for this presentation. You know, all of our dreams are connected to words. You can't dream without a word in your mind. Yeah, we see in pictures. But if I were to ask you what your dream was today, you would think words. I want to be, insert a title. I want to do, insert an activity. I want to have, insert something you want to have. It's all connected to words. And if you think about the words that are on the screen, I love you. Think about the first time your significant other, your spouse said that to you. Think about what that meant. And think about how different things were after they said that. Think about these words. I do. A simple, I do. You're committing to vows. And let's just be honest about it. I'm pretty upfront about my relationship with my wife when people ask about it. You know, you don't know what you're committing to when you say I do. You think you do, but you have no idea. You're just committing to something, but everything changes after that. Oh, I'm pregnant. I still remember, I actually told my wife that she was pregnant before she was pregnant with our first. She's like, no, I'm not. It's like, oh yeah, I hit the bullseye, I know it. But think about that. If you've ever been pregnant, that pregnancy said, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. Little words. And so words build worlds. And we, underneath everybody in here, underneath the sound of my voice, everybody, we are creating a world in which our colleagues, our contemporaries, our students can thrive. That's what we're doing. And what we're going to be talking about today in this leadership workshop are 6 specific words that every leader needs to communicate every single day. So before today, I always like to ask this. I know a few of you I've seen at different conferences, but some of you I've never seen before. Raise your hands if you've never heard of me or never seen me speak before. Gosh, Ray, I really keep thinking I'm more famous than that, man. I guess I'm not. Gosh. Well, I had a dream too. My dream was very simple. I wanted to make a lot of money. Anybody in here with me had that dream? Stop. Don't look at me like that. Yeah. Come on, y'all. Y'all had the dream. At least when you was a kid. Come on. Don't look away. Yeah. Come on. You had the dream that you was going to make some money. Come on, y'all. Thank you. 4 of you. Great. But I had a foolproof plan. Y'all probably didn't have a plan like I did. I bet you didn't have a plan like me. My plan was simple. I was going to go to the NBA and make millions of dollars. Why you laugh? You don't have to laugh. Yes, that was the foolproof. I was good, y'all. Don't look at me like that. I was good. There's receipts. That's what the kids call it, receipts. I was written up in the papers. I'm from North Carolina, where basketball is a big deal. You got UNC Chapel Hill, you got Duke, you got ACC country. My AAU team won a national championship going into my first year of high school. AAU was a really, really big deal. All the greats played in AAU. In fact, I had the opportunity to play against and with some of the greats. You might have heard of LeBron James, might have heard of him, got to play in tournaments with him. Chris Paul, got to play against those guys. We won a national championship. And I remember after we took that picture and it was in the papers and at church and all that stuff, I told my dad, I said, yo, Dad, your baby boy's going to the NBA. Get ready. Get ready. I'm going to get you everything that you want. I'm going to get all of y'all stuff that you want. My dad looked at me kind of like y'all are looking at me right now. Like, okay, son. All right. Okay. Sure. Right. And I know for those of us that work with students and you ask them what they want to do, they give you those, I want to be a singer. I want to be like Cardi B or whoever's out now, right? They want to do those things. You kind of look at them the same way that my dad looked at me. Okay, here's a dose of reality, son. That's what my dad told me. You have a better chance statistically of getting struck by lightning twice than you do of going to the NBA. You need another plan. Now, my dad said this looking at me eye to eye, and I'm like, come on, Dad, be a hater. Again, looking at me eye to eye. I'm 14 years old, looking at my dad eye to eye. In that picture, I'm 5'8". I stand before you today. Many years later, 5'8". Well, actually a little shorter because I don't have any hair on the top now. But my dad saw something that I didn't see. And he said this to me. He said, son, you'll probably make more money with your brain than you will your body. But I wasn't ready to receive that. It's like, come on, Dad, I'm good. I'm ranked in the state of North Carolina. Come on. And I went on, I played varsity all 4 years. I was ranked in the state. I played in national tournaments every single year, but I didn't make it. I didn't even play basketball in college. Now, earlier I asked you how many of you have dreams, and some of you kind of looked at me, how many of y'all want to make a lot of money? Let me ask you this. How many of you ever really, really tried something and it didn't work? Ever really tried something? You tried to get that job. You tried to start that business. You tried to keep that toxic relationship going. Sorry. But you tried and it didn't work out. And that's how I was. I felt like a failure. But again, words build worlds. And so when we think about the word failure, we have to make sure that we assign it to something that happened and not to who we are. Nobody's a failure. And actually, the people that fail the most, the quickest, succeed the biggest in the bigger scheme of things. And so because I failed, I was actually led to what I believe my greatest success was. That's a picture of my dad and my mom. My dad, Air Force veteran, my mom, an immigrant from West Africa. I wanted to make them proud more than anything. So I went to college. Actually graduated the first of my parents' kids to graduate from college. And I thought then I would be successful because I had the degree. But a degree does not always equal to destiny. In fact, a degree is just the thing that you get on the way. And so my first job out of school, how many of y'all remember your first job out of school? You remember it? Oh, some of you smiled. Some of you, I don't know about that. My first job, I worked at the Guilford County Sheriff's Department. How many of you loved your first job? You loved it. Okay, look at that. Okay, where are the people that did not love it? You did not. I I hated, and I'm saying it with a smile, I hated that job. I hated that job. Because think about the words that I was receiving every single day. I worked inside of the jail. I took people in off of the street that were locked up. Think about the words that I was getting. Oh, and I did it in my hometown.
Not cool.
And I'm just saying this to kind of paint a picture. I played football and basketball in my hometown.
So you were well known.
The names I got on the walkthrough. Just imagine the kind of names that I got. The different words that I was receiving. And think about, in your previous experience, think about the jobs, the words that were going through your mind. And then I met a mentor. And for some of you, you're that mentor for somebody. But I met a mentor that changed everything. And the words we're going to be talking about today are specific to the words that he gave me. He said the best use of this life is to spend it on something that outlasted. The best use of this life is to spend it on something that outlasted. And if you think about the holidays, different holidays come up, different anniversaries, different birthdays. There are always times for reflection. And you always think about what happened in the past. Here's something that I've started to think about. I turned 37 this year. And this year was the first year where I was like, wow, I'm 37. I'm getting older. Wow. And if you think about it, if you have that reflection of time, what rings the most in your mind are the words that you tell yourself, the words that people have given to you, the words that you marinate on, the words that you meditate on. And when my mentor told me the power of words, I knew that my passion was to share impactful words, inspirational words with people all across this great nation. And so that's what I do. And so the words we're going to be talking about quickly as we go through: impact. I'm going to break each letter in the word impact down as a word. So everybody say impact. Impact. So how we're going to do this session, I'm going to treat y'all like my Baptist preacher used to treat us. The better you say amen, the quicker we'll be done. All right. Amen. Amen. Hey. So the first word is inspiration. Everybody say inspiration. Inspiration is a word that you have to give, but it's also a word that you have to get. You have to be an inspiration. So you have to give people inspiration, reasons to be inspired and move forward. Inspiration literally comes from the Latin root spirare. Spirare means breath. So if we go inspiration, inspirare, it literally means breath in, to breathe life into something. And so that's your job. That's what you're supposed to do as a leader. You're supposed to breathe life into dead situations, breathe life into situations where, man, it's not time to be up right now. And actually, as we're here today, something else happened to where it's like, sometimes you don't want to be inspired. Sometimes you just want to marinate on it. And there's time for that. But we as leaders, we have to be the people that lift people up. We have to be the light. We have to be the spark. And I'm showing you that picture of 15-year-old Odell. What do you think inspired 15-year-old Odell? I always love hearing the different. Basketball, that's one thing. What else?
Girls.
Hey, there it is. Girls. So part of the reason I was good at basketball is because the girls liked it. Just saying. So this particular day, I was in my marketing class and there was this girl. I did not know, I was unsure of the lexicon to use to persuade her to want to be in my company. I didn't know how to use the words at that time for the young ladies. So every single day she sat in front of me. Every single day I would come in and I would just, hey, you good? You good? Is everybody good? Everybody sleeping good? You're good? Did you eat good? The lunch was good. That's all I did. Until, y'all laughing, but I'm serious. Until one day I came into class, she was listening to headphones, and I said, all right, this is going to be the day. I'm going to talk to her today. She can't reject me. I'm going to ask her what she's listening to. And what she said frightened me. What she said frightened me. She said, oh, I'm listening to that Ready to Die. Now, I grew up very, very conservative. I grew up underneath my grandmother's thumb in church. And this was a time before YouTube, before iTunes, before Spotify. So I only listened to what my parents, what my grandparents allowed me to listen to. I knew rap music was out there, obviously, but we didn't have cable. So it, you know, it's like, so I knew what she was talking about when she said Ready to Die, but I did not know what she was talking about when she said Ready to Die. But she was cute. She was cute. She was an inspiration to me every single day to smile. Y'all know what I'm saying? Like, for real, she was. So I had to act like I kind of knew what she was talking about. But then she started going deeper and started confusing me. She was like, oh, I'm listening to Ready to Die, you know, Biggie Smalls. And I'm like, what? Biggie, is he big or is he small? Like, what do you mean, Biggie Smalls? And she saw the confusion on my face and she asked me, she said, Odell, would you like to borrow my CD? What did I say, everybody? Yes. Oh yeah, because now I have a plan. Now I will go home, I will listen to the Devil's soundtracks. My grandma called it the Devil's soundtrack at home, and I will learn it, and I will come back, and then we will formulate a love that will last forever. That was the goal. That was the plan. I went home, popped the CD in the CD player. Anybody ever heard Biggie? Like the unedited, not for music? Explicit. I was 15. What I had playing, what I took out of my CD player was Jackson 5's greatest hits. So I put that in, put Biggie Ready to Die in, and I'm listening to it, and oh my gosh. I was shocked. There was so many commandments he broke in the first skit. So many. And I'm listening to this and I'm trying to compartmentalize. I'm like, this young lady, she's so beautiful and pure. And what is this? It was crazy. But how many people said they had heard it? They had heard Biggie before? It was something about it. I don't know what it was. It was like he hypnotized me. Biggie. Sorry. But, and I listened to it and I started liking it. And then I was like, ooh, this is good. Then I started feeling like a gangster, y'all. Like we just talking, it's just us. I started feeling like a gangster. I started feeling like I could like rob somebody and it would be okay. It's weird. Y'all laughing, but I'm serious. 15-year-old Odell. This is 15-year-old Odell. So I'm like, okay. So I started listening to it, get a little loud, get a little rowdy. I'm like, all right, yeah. Give me the loot. I'm a bad man. Yeah. Got loud. My mom said, hey, turn the music down. You're too loud. What you listening to? The first time, yes, mother. My bad. Turn it down. But I was inspired. Because, see, my mama didn't know my plan. She didn't know that my plan was to fall in love with this particular girl and give her grandbabies and live in wedded bliss forever. She didn't know that. I'm not sure I knew that either, but I'm just saying, for dramatic effect. So I kept listening to it over and over and over again. And a lot of times when we're inspired by something, if we continue to feed ourselves with that thing, we become that thing. See, we turn into what we tune into. And so I kept tuning in, and I got loud again. And I grew up my room was right next to my sister's room. I heard a woman's voice say, hey, shut that stuff off. Thought it was my sister. We speak differently to our siblings than we do to our parents. So thinking it was my sister, I responded, you shut up. You don't tell me what to do. Because my sister didn't know that I was a gangster, but it wasn't my sister. It was my mama. And I didn't know that she was a bigger gangster. Yes. So actually, I don't have much recollection from it because that night, the gangster Odell died. Gangster Odell went away forever. And I'll tell you that story for a couple of different reasons. A lot of times the things that we put into our mind, that we put into our earlobes, that we put into our eye holes, they inspire us and we don't even know it. They move our emotions. And what we have to do is understand that inspiration gets you feeling something. As a leader, we have to get people to feel things. Good things. That's the punchline. Get people to feel good things, especially as it relates to their success. Get them feeling good about them. Speak that spark into them. Because when you speak that spark into them, they'll assign you as somebody that inspires them. And when somebody inspires somebody to do something, just like the young lady, she inspired me to listen to this for my own reasons. You start studying that thing. Oh, well, yeah, Laquita said that. So let me dig into that a little bit to see what it's about. And so your inspiration is the start. And so you have to give that. Everybody say inspiration. The next word is motivation, 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 motivation. How many of you consider yourselves motivated people? Let me see those hands. You consider yourself a motivated person? Put your hands down. How many of you have ever struggled with motivating anybody else? You've struggled with it. It's like, I don't know if I can do that. You struggle with it. I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you the key to motivating anybody that's unmotivated. Y'all ready for it? Lean in, because it's gonna be really good. You can't motivate anybody. You can't. We got any parents in here? Any parents? This was the biggest epiphany to me. I thought, well, I was a pretty good kid. Yeah, I didn't listen all the way, but who listens? I was a pretty good kid, got good grades, graduated, didn't do anything crazy, didn't get locked up or anything, didn't have, all these different skeletons in my closet. I'm a good kid. I could be a politician and people would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's real. I was a good kid. I thought my kids would be good kids like me. But then what had happened is I realized that kids don't listen. Did y'all know that? Why didn't somebody tell me that kids don't listen? I thought, wait a minute, if I feed them, they'll listen to me. If I clothe them, if I pray for them, they will listen to me. No, kids only listen to their parents when it benefits them. That's the only time. It's the craziest, most sobering thing. But here's something that we have to understand. And I want y'all to get this. This is a writer downer. We're all kids. We just got bills. We're just kids with responsibilities. We're the same way. You can't make any other human being do anything outside of pointing them to how it benefits them. That's the key. See, inspiration is about your feelings. I'm giving you a good feeling. Motivation is about your vision. What do I see that's in it for me? What do I see that's in it for me? And so as a leader, when we're talking about the word motivation, we have to ensure that we are letting them see the potential of their future. Those individuals that we speak to that, they're not motivated or they're not ambitious, they've just yet to see the potential of their future. If you show them that their future is better than their present and will be better than their past, they'll listen better. Better. Not all the way, but they'll listen better. And so that's what we have to be masterful at doing. And the way that we do that is through communication. I'm going to go through this really, really quick. I could give a whole 4-day training on communication, but there are different levels of communication. There's mass communication, public communication, interpersonal communication, and intrapersonal communication. What we have to do as leaders is we have to communicate with those that we lead on as many levels as possible. So mass communication, up until recently, I would say in the last 15 years or so, when the invention of mass social media, there was social media before, but the way social media is today, now you can share messages at a mass scale to a lot of people at once. And you can concentrate it to a group or to a page or different things like that. So that's mass communication. Then there's public communication, the type of communication that you all are partaking in right now, that preacher to a congregation, that teacher to a classroom, that professor to a classroom. So giving them experiences in public communication, bringing in individuals that are not you, because here's something that we do know. You can say the same thing that somebody else could say, and then they're not going to listen to you, but they're going to listen to that person. Oh my gosh. And it's not just students. How many of y'all married in here? Oh my gosh, so many times I was like, babe, you should do this, you should do this. You know, I'm in business for myself. Right, it's not. I've been in business for myself for a decade, babe. You should do it like this. No, I'll go pay somebody $5,000 to tell me the exact same thing that you told me, worse than you told me, and then I'll think it's the greatest thing ever. It's just the law of familiarity. The law of familiarity states whatever's familiar is not remarkable. Whatever's familiar is not remarkable. So that's why having a third party come in and say it, it's like, oh my gosh. It's crazy. Interpersonal communication is one-to-one. As much as possible, looking somebody in their eyes, looking somebody and telling them you're great, telling them that you can do this and walking them through that. And then intrapersonal communication, the other three levels feed the intrapersonal. Intrapersonal is what we say to us. That's where motivation resides, in the intrapersonal communication. So if you ever catch somebody saying things, and even yourself saying things, oh my gosh, I lost my keys again. I'm so stupid. Correct them immediately. Oh, I'm not good at. Correct them immediately. Have to continue to do that because that's their intrapersonal dialogue or monologue going on and on and on. And we do it to ourselves. We'll lose our phones. And then we'll say, you'll have the flashlight on your phone, looking for your phone. Where's my phone? I can't find it. And then you just chalk that up to the game. It happens. But we have to continually communicate at these different levels to incite motivation. So the P in impact stands for purpose. Everybody say purpose. Purpose. This one is big. I'm going to give you some questions. I want you to write down, or you can take a picture of the screen. But purpose is huge. Purpose is the reason in which we do everything. Purpose is the foundation that all success, that all greatness, that all great strives stand on. And one of the best ways to find something is to go on a quest. The prefix in the word question is quest. So I'm about to give you what I call the 5 greatest questions every person must answer. And I can't take total credit for it. My mentor, who I showed you earlier, he introduced me to his mentor, a guy by the name of Dr. Miles Monroe that passed away many years ago, unfortunately on a plane crash. And this was a part of his last sermon that I heard. So I'm gonna put the 5 questions up, then we're gonna talk about them really quick, then we're gonna move. The first question is, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? The second question, where am I from? The third question is, why am I here? The fourth question is, what am I capable of doing? And then the last question is, how will I be remembered by those I was assigned to? Now, really quickly, again, I want you to get these down. So take a picture of the screen or jot them down really quick. I'm going to walk through how I believe you should begin answering these questions. But these questions are not just something for you. It's a gift. You give this to somebody else. And you don't have to give them all of the questions at once. But this is something that you pass on. So first and foremost, who am I? When we go through that, there's a lot of different options, right? And depending on what time in which you grew up or came into your own, there are more options for that question than there have ever been before. And so I want to lead you to, when you're answering the question, when you're answering who am I, think about who you are responsible for, who you're accountable to, and who you want to be. Because your identity is connected to your activity. So if I say to myself, I want to be a good husband, There's certain activities a good husband should take, should do.